Welcome to the Blogger Genius Podcast, brought to you by Milo Tree. Here's your host, Jillian Leslie.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I am Jillian Leslie, and I'm really glad that you are joining me. So today, for this episode, I feel like a proud mom. I'm interviewing my friend, Anina Belle Giannini. And Anina Belle started working with David and me at the beginning of the pandemic. We ran our first 6-week coaching group, and she joined it. And she was frustrated because she was doing all these things for her blog, which is called Le Chef's Wife, because she's married to a French chef, and nothing was working. And I could feel her frustration. And I wanted to have her on the show because over these 2 years, because she joined our membership and I've been working with her closely, I have watched her put all of the pieces together and start to explode her business. And in fact, you're going to hear that I am working with her to set up a paid workshop where she is going to teach people how to bake a baguette. I mean, simple as that. And I'm doing this because David and I have launched our beta of Milo Tree Easy Payments, and Anina Belle is now at the place where she is creating products. And I'm super excited. So if you are feeling frustrated in your business, like you are spinning your wheels, you're watching other people have all this success, and you don't understand why things are not working for you, I think you will be very inspired by this episode. So without further delay, here is my interview with Anina Belle. Anina Belle, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jillian. It's amazing to be here. I have listened to your show for years now. So this is really a pinch me moment. Thank you.
Oh, well, I have to say that before we pressed record, I was telling you how proud I am of you, because when we started working together initially back in 2020, you had so many of the pieces but hadn't quite figured out how to put them together. So would you share your beginnings, what your vision was, and where you are now?
Absolutely. So I had the idea for my blog. It hit me like lightning at 3:00 in the morning in January of 2016. I was working in Montreal. I have a career in luxury hospitality, and I don't know what inspired me to come up with the name Le Chef's Wife in 2016, but I really wanted to share about French food, French cooking, what it's like being married to a French chef, and just had this kind of notion, but didn't really know where it was going. And I set up the Instagram account and I bought the domain name and started posting about, where we went for dinner and where we would buy our French baguettes in Montreal and all that kind of fun stuff. And then in 2018, after I had my daughter, I had this burst of creativity. We were living in Washington, D.C. at the time, which is where we live now, outside of Washington, D.C. And I really wanted to start writing and start journaling for my daughter and translating what my husband does, this fancy French cooking that comes from years of apprenticing in Michelin star restaurants, and break it down in a way that that was easier to understand, because I realized that I had started to become a pretty good cook myself in cooking with my husband for 17 years. I guess it's worth saying I'm married to a French chef, and
but you're not French. You are not French. You're Canadian.
French. I'm American Canadian. My mom is French Canadian. My father is American. And I met my husband on a study exchange in the south of France when I was 23 years old. He was the executive chef of a 5-star hotel in Cannes, and we fell madly in love. We were engaged a month and a half after we met. And I lived in the south of France with him for 8 years. We moved to DC in 2016. And it was at that moment really that I started working on the blog. And so I started the blog in 2018. My first post, I think, was 24 hours in Nice, where to go, what to do in Nice, France. Didn't spend much time on the blog. I was posting every few months or so, and it took me forever to put together a blog post. And one blog post would be about lifestyle. Another one would be about French entertaining. Another one would be about French food, and another one would be about French fashion. And it was just kind of lacking clarity. And that's actually how we met. That's when we met.
Okay. So we were doing 6-week workshops during the beginning of the pandemic to help bloggers really accelerate their growth. And you came to me and you joined, and we got on a call to talk about your business. And do you remember the advice that I gave you? I remember 2 things I said to you. Go, you tell me what you remember. I'll tell you what I remember.
One, that I was too fancy.
Yes.
Was one thing. I've been working for 22 years in luxury hotels. Having a presence in a luxury hotel is a very important thing. And I think that what was very useful advice that you gave me is to be a little bit more messy on my blog, to be a little bit more décoiffé, as we would say in French, to not be as tightly put together as I would in my hotel career. And that was incredible advice.
It was so, I remember saying it to you and wondering if you were going to take offense to this, but I did. I remember going, you're too fancy. You're too aspirational. You're hard to, and I would say you're hard to relate to. And you need to
that's not my intention. And, I think it's a byproduct of so many years in luxury hotels. And that's not how I am either.
I know. Now that I've gotten to know you, it's not at all how I think of you. But it was so, the thing is that when you are writing a blog, you want to be relatable. And I was like, Anina Belle, you're not relatable. Stop it. Don't be so fancy. So so you took that, yes. Thank God you took it with like the love that I was offering it, which is really good.
There was so much love there, and I felt that.
Okay. And you did messy yourself up. You messied yourself up.
It helped that it was in the middle of a pandemic. So any hotelier that has survived the pandemic understands what that roller coaster was. Anyone who's worked in the hospitality industry, the past 2 years have been a shit show. Sorry, can I say that?
Yeah, totally. And you have 2 kids now. Your life's gotten more complicated. So
I think I was 7 months pregnant when we were speaking as well with my second. So that helps messy things up. But also another thing that you really pinned in on, and I'm so grateful that you did, is that you said, Anina Belle, you have a food blog. It's like, no, I have a lifestyle blog.
Right.
Like, no, Anina Belle, you have a food blog. No. One day's about fashion, and one day's about where we're going, and another one's about travel, and another one's about this French Riviera inspired lifestyle. And you very astutely said, you have a food blog. You have a French chef in your house who is teaching you recipes that value that you can give people. And you were so right to say so. Is really my secret sauce that you would say. Or my
well, because here's the thing. Of course I'd want to know how to cook French food, but that's so intimidating. And to be honest with you, I don't want to learn from your husband. I would be paralyzed. Like, he might be the nicest guy in the world, but he is so far above where I am that you have this amazing opportunity, one being like speaking English and being a mom and not like some fancy trained chef, to translate what he says into my language.
Yeah. And it's really special too, because above and beyond French food, his specialty and our specialty is French Riviera food. And I love sharing what French Riviera food is, because for me, it's a lighter, brighter version of French food, closer to Mediterranean diet. And I just really fell in love with sharing that with people that had always thought of French food as French onion soup and boeuf bourguignon and, sole meunière, all the Julia Child classics. We do those, but we also do incredible things like the branzino with the vierge sauce. It's just like the most wonderful thing you've ever tasted. Or French baguettes that you can do in under 2 hours. Those are really dishes that I felt resonated with people, and it made me so happy to help people to achieve success in a kitchen when they never thought they would be able to do something like that. So I never thought I'd be able to do French baguettes in my own kitchen on a Saturday morning.
Those 3 things, like getting messy, being related, and I remember saying, be relatable, and that you are.
What do you mean?
What do I know? So that leaning into being a food blogger, because you have, and leaning into your special sauce, which is, oh my God, I've got access to this amazing chef, but I can put my spin on it and make it relatable to everybody else.
Yeah.
Remember, you only have to be 1 to 2 steps ahead of your audience. And in fact, you can relate to me much more than your husband can in terms of my skills. So I want to learn from you.
And I honestly, Jillian, couldn't see that because I thought that my husband is the chef. So I have no right being the pretending to be a chef. And I definitely will never say that I am a chef because I'm not a trained chef. I'm a cook. I'm a home cook. I love to cook. And I thought that was his space. And then I realized that there was space for me in there, and there was space for us. And we do cooking shows together with there's an organization in DC called Alliance Française. It's around the world, but the DC chapter, we've started doing live cooking shows with them for their members. And the two of us have so much fun because he actually becomes my sous chef. I'm there speaking to the camera, showing the recipe, and he's there making sure the pot doesn't boil over, making sure I don't burn my baguettes in the oven, making sure that my vegetables are perfectly chopped and just ready for me to tip into the pan. Like it's a lot of fun.
Okay. So let's talk about B- work.
Yes.
Because that is another thing that I think was a game changer for you.
Huge. It absolutely was huge, Jillian. I started the blog when I was on maternity leave. And so I know this sounds ridiculous to say, but I had a lot of extra time. I was used to traveling a lot, was used to always being on the go. And so then having time with my daughter, who fortunately was a good sleeper, I had a lot of extra time. And so I started writing blog posts at that time, and it would take me months to write one, and I would send it to my mom to proofread. But I was applying the same principles I applied to my career of perfectionism and making sure everything is perfect before I press publish. And I was applying that to my blog. That worked well when I was on maternity leave and had that extra time. But once I went back to work and found myself as a working mom with a husband that has a demanding job himself, and there just wasn't that time. And your advice of B- work was very freeing to me because I was able to make a distinction between Anina Belle Giannini, who does the Chef's Wife blog, and Anina Belle at work. And that's another standard that I held myself to because it affects so many more people, and it's, big organizations. So yeah, I was able to, that B- work notion was able to really allow me to just hit publish a lot quicker. Do I make mistakes? Yes, I do. Someone pointed out to me that I had forgotten to mention the recipe. The sugar in the recipe, it was instructions, but not under the ingredients. And ouch, that hurts, that stings, of course. And I'm still, it still is evoking emotion in me. How did I forget the sugar? But I just roll with it.
Nobody died. Nobody died. And
nobody died. She caught my mistake, this wonderful reader, and she left a comment on my blog. I really, really am grateful for that. And I fixed it right away. But the B- work was incredibly freeing for me because that's never a standard that I allowed myself to perform at. B- was not acceptable. And it's actually, it's permeated other parts of my life, which I really enjoy as well. Be like, okay, I don't have it all. It's not going to be perfect, but done is better than perfect. Here we go. Let's go.
B- is above average. I'm not saying just do average level work. It's just
not good enough, Jillian.
I know. Believe me, I struggle with the same thing. Okay. You just recently so I feel like watching you grow has been so satisfying, and watching you connect all the pieces. You just recently did it, and it does take a while. Like you listen to these blog posts, and I say a lot of the same stuff over and over again, but it's like we learn things at different levels. And you just recently put together a challenge that worked, and it clicked, and it was like it was shocking how well this worked. So will you go through how you thought about it, how you set it up, and what the results have been?
Okay. So first I want to preface this by saying that I have had my Instagram account for 6 years, my blog for 4 years, and was just not able to get them both off the ground. I felt stuck. I felt like I could not get growth. I felt like whatever I was doing was not working. And as a sales and marketing professional, that was also difficult for me because what am I not getting here? And I was just really felt like I was just treading through mud all the time. I loved what I was doing. I loved the message that I was conveying, but I just was not able to get any traction. And it was over the month of December this past year, as the Omicron wave began to hit and everything was shutting down again. And my friend Tony of A Bowl Full of Lemons, who I've been following for years, and she does this home organization challenge every January. And I've signed up for it 3 years in a row. And every week you do a new organization project in your home. And I was getting excited to do that, thinking, well, this time I'll actually have time to do it, to finish it. Did I finish it? No, but I got a few weeks further than I normally do. And I thought, well, maybe I should do a challenge. I love to cook soup. I cook soup all the time, especially in the winter. I find it's the most comforting thing in the whole wide world. And one thing that I grew up with is that my mom always had a big pot of soup in the fridge. And so I just had this spur of the moment idea. I think it was like the 24th of December, to do a soup Sunday challenge. And I thought, well, I'm just going to start cooking soup live on Instagram, because Instagram has been my my channel of where I relate to the most, where I had the biggest community, and also where I felt like I had like-minded people. And so I thought I'm just going to show up live on Instagram every Sunday morning and make soup with people, and they can log in if they want to, and we'll make soup together without a real plan in place. I thought this will be relatively easy because I will just use my old soup recipes. I realized I had about 12 soup recipes on my blog from previous years, and was just going to cook my way through those. Started out that way. I spoke about it to my husband, I think at the end of December, and was like, so honey, I think I'm going to do this. It won't be that much work. He's like, He knew it right away. He's a professional chef, as you know. And he's like, that sounds like a lot more work than what you think it is, but I'm happy to support you in this, which is amazing because 2 kids, it's on a Sunday. So I started it off. I put up an Instagram story, or I put up a post that I was creating this Soup Sunday challenge.
Okay, so let's stop there. You put up a blog post and you started talking about it on Instagram?
Yes. I put up a blog post and started talking about it on Instagram, and highlighted my old soup recipes on that blog post, and I built a blog page, and I was so happy that I was able to build that myself, Jillian. I was so proud of myself. David must be very proud of me too. So yes, I put that out on Instagram, and then it's Tony from A Bowl Full of Lemons who messaged me, said, Anina Belle, you should really offer a something for sign up if people sign up for your email list. I said, actually, Tony, that's a great idea. And within 2 days, this was over the Christmas break, I put all of my soup recipes together on Canva and created this Soup Sunday Challenge recipe ebook. And then put that out as a free giveaway with anyone who would sign up for my Soup Sunday Challenge. When I started the Soup Sunday Challenge, I had about 500 people on my email list. And then
So wait, are you emailing these people to say, come cook with me live?
So, and what I ended up doing is creating new blog posts every single week. I thought it was going to be old blog posts, but I was creating new recipes because I was so inspired by the community. I was so inspired by what people were sharing with me. It was absolutely amazing. So I created new blog posts, and in that new blog post, I'd make sure that would go out on a Thursday or a Friday, or sometimes it was a Saturday. And I would say, this is what we're going to be cooking next or on Sunday. And would encourage people to sign up for the Soup Sunday Challenge at every time that would go out. And so it was great because I was creating one piece of content. I had the photos, was creating the recipe, and then was also using that on Instagram, was creating reels with that as well. And so I got really good at creating a reel every single week about my new soup recipe. And then on the Sunday would do the recipe live.
I wanted to take a short break to talk about the new payment platform David and I are rolling out called MiloTree Easy Payments. And you can find it at milotree.com/easy payments. And what is it? It is the easiest way to create digital products like workshops and memberships and coaching. And here's the best part. We give you free hosted sales pages that you can fill out in about 10 minutes. Set up your digital product on MiloTree Easy Payments and then set up your sales page and boom, you now can start selling. We host the sales page for free. Go try out an idea. See if you've got traction. See if people will buy from you. And that's how you build and how you learn. And if this sounds interesting to you because we're still testing, I would love to personally, for free, help you set up a paid workshop or a paid membership. We'll get on a Zoom call. Reach out to me at Jillian@milotree.com. And the best part is there's no monthly fee. We take a small transaction fee, so we only make money when you do. Therefore, if you want to go check it out, set up a product, all for free, head to milotree.com/easypayments. I believe this is a game changer for content creators to sell products and services directly to their communities without having to battle complicated technology. Again, see for yourself at milotree.com/easypayments. And now back to the show. Now, are you sending emails to your list every week to say, hey, join me,
Yes.
here's the recipe, all the, so, because I
Exactly.
want to see how all the pieces are all funneling to this.
Together. So I had the email list, which was getting my RSS campaign. So it was really,
Okay,
it was
so that
automatically
meant
being
so
sent to me recipe.
as soon as you post the post, it gets
Mhm.
sent to your email list. And in that, it's
Exactly.
saying, here's the recipe and join me on Sunday at whatever time, and I'm going to be cooking.
Yes. And if you happen to miss it, here are the other recipes from the Soup Sunday Challenge and some other recipes on my blog. So I was keeping people in the informed of what the recipes were and where else they could find them on my blog. I also created a French Riviera cuisine Facebook group, which was another way to connect. I'm not as good at Facebook groups as I'd like to be. It was not the most natural way for me to engage. And so I don't think I engaged as much there as I originally wanted to or would have liked to. But it was cool seeing the discussions there as well. What I loved is that people were sharing their hashtag Soup Sunday Challenge photos, and they were sharing their own family soup recipes. If I posted a magical leek soup, for example, I would get people that were doing magical leek soup. And then I also had people that were doing chicken and dumpling soup, and another person that was doing chili. And it was just this very open-ended concept of let's make soup together on a Sunday. With the intention of eating better, less food waste, having warm, comforting, nourishing food available. And I think people really enjoyed it at that time. It was very timely.
How are you driving people to sign up for your list? When you're doing it, when you're live, go to this address, go get this, and you can get the recipe. Like, how are you getting people onto your list?
So I was reiterating the Soup Sunday Challenge ebook every single time. I was talking about it in my Instagram post. I had it printed out and was showing it live and say, so today we're making the magical leek soup or the minestrone or the French onion soup gratiné, which was one of the most popular, of course. And that happened like during the bomb cyclone weather. It was huge amounts of snow that we had in the East Coast, and I was doing French onion soup. So I was always telling people, if they hadn't signed up, sign up for the Soup Sunday Challenge. You'll be the first one to get the recipes, and you get this free recipe ebook, which I was really proud of because I had 10 of my best French soup recipes. But now I need to make a new ebook because I've got now 20 recipes because I was building up new recipes every single time.
Now, how hard was it to make the ebook on Canva?
Really easy. It was copy paste. You get a template. I used a flyer template that I think was used in schools before as school newsletters. And I literally just copy pasted my recipe over. I've gotten good at using Canva because during the pandemic, I wasn't employing graphic designers as much with my work. And so I learned to use Canva much better. But it was really easy. You just copy paste.
Okay. So, and you're going live for how long every week?
So originally, and I guess this is my perfectionist self rearing its head and also my husband's influence on this. Originally, I was just going to show a part of the recipe, or I was just going to turn on the camera and talk as I was making soup. that didn't last very long. I realized after, I think it was the minestrone soup demonstration I did, where it started to lag. It went 45 minutes. I didn't feel as engaged and as energetic about it. And I feel like people were not as engaged and energetic about it as much as I wanted as well. I was like, okay, I have to up my game. And my husband has a lot of on TV cooking experience. He's like, you need to up your game. And so he helped me to prep the recipe entirely in advance, make a full recipe, then really walk through the recipe step by step, and keep it all within a half-hour timeline.
So this was just a half an hour that you're showing up.
Just a half hour, and that I showed the recipe from start to finish entirely in that half hour. So it meant I had to have a full one done already.
Now, are people like interacting with you during this? And are you reading the comments and going like, hey, Michelle, you know,
as best as I could. Absolutely. Okay. And people were giving tips. At one point, and I will never forget this, my induction stove like was not working. I could not get my pot to heat no matter what I did. And I was pushing all the buttons on my stove. And one of the people that was cooking along with me said, ask your husband to go and flip the breaker. That always works for me. And she was absolutely right. And I called out to my husband, who was taking care of our two kids, and was like, honey, chérie, s'il te plaît, tu peux m'aider? And he went down and he flipped the breaker and the stove worked. So it was very interactive. People were asking questions. I was asking questions to them as well about their favorite soups, about ways that they like to prepare certain ingredients. It was really fun. And it was special too, because it felt like I was cooking with people every single weekend. I was cooking with my mom, who would log in every single Sunday from British Columbia, Canada. I was cooking with friends that are based in France and in Italy and in the UK. There was an incredible sense of community around the Soup Sundae Challenge that I think people really embraced, and I definitely fell in love with.
Now, how many weeks did you do this?
I did it for 8.
Wow.
So it was 8 weeks. I know.
Were you exhausted?
And we take part.
Okay.
I was exhausted, but one thing I realized is that by doing something for 8 weeks, it becomes easy. And it was like going to blogger boot camp for me, because I'm so much quicker at writing a recipe now. I can bang out a recipe in like just a couple hours now, whereas before it would have been something much more lengthy. I know exactly which shots to take to get the right shots for an in-feed blog post and also for a reel. I know how to film for the reel to express the way that I want to express in the recipe. I'm able to go through the process much quicker. And so 8 weeks was really blogger boot camp for me. I feel like a much more accomplished blogger at the end of 8 weeks than I did going into it.
Now let's talk numbers. How many newsletter signups, email subscribers did you get? And how many Instagram followers did you get?
So when I started the Soup Sundae Challenge, and I was very happy that my director of sales and marketing hat was on when I was starting the challenge, I wrote down all my metrics. I was at 6,500 followers on Instagram. I had 500 signups on my email newsletter list. And my blog traffic was at 4,500 visits per month. Sessions, not page views, sessions. And so that's when I started the Soup Sundae Challenge. When I ended the Soup Sundae Challenge, I was at, I believe, 1,600 email signups.
So you tripled it.
And then Instagram, I hit 10,000 the morning of the last day of the Soup Sundae Challenge. And so it was quite celebratory. It was like, wow, that's amazing. I hit the 10K that I've been, aspiring towards for years and was not able to get the 10K. I was between 4,000 and 6,000 followers on Instagram for years. It was like, I was in the trenches. And then what was the other metric? Page views, sessions, now at 12,000 sessions per month. So I went from 4,500. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Now wait. And then your Instagram, because you've been doing reels, because you've been doing lives, where's your Instagram now?
It's now at 33,000.
Wait. And you started this at the beginning of the year. So this has been 3 months?
It's less than a month. It went from 10,000 to 33,000 in less than a month. It's incredible, Jillian.
What do you think that is? Like, what are you doing?
It's reels. I think it's a combination. One, I'm so much more clear on my messaging. people come to lechefswife.com or Le Chef's Wife Instagram page for French recipes made simple. I break down complicated French recipes, and I break them down so that people with no culinary training can succeed at them, even if there's toddlers running around, like in my house. And so I think it really helped to focus my Instagram feed, because I wasn't posting all the other stuff that's going on in my life. There'll be another time where I will post everything that's going on in my life. Right now is, it's about food. It's about what we're cooking and how to do it at home. So I think the focus really, really helped, but also, and then the reels was extraordinary.
And how often are you making reels?
I'm trying to do 2 a week. With recipes, my rule is to do 1 new recipe and 1 old recipe, because as I'm going through this is a great opportunity as well to freshen up my old content. So for example,
how often are you posting just regular posts on Instagram, static posts?
Regular posts. I'm doing three a week, maybe 4.
And stories?
And stories, I'm trying to show up in stories every day. And I love Instagram. I've been on Instagram for years. So it's normal for me to show up. I'm just being a lot more focused on how I'm showing up. I'm not showing a photo of our dog walking in the park as a post as much anymore. I'll put that in stories. Or if I'm out, I did a workshop with my ballet class. I take adult ballet. I put that in stories. Whereas maybe before I would have made a in-feed post. Now my in-feed posts are reserved to food and cooking and home cooking especially. And I think that helps because people know what they're looking for. It's definitely a change in community. It used to feel like they were all my friends when we were 5,000, 6,000 people. And I would recognize a lot of the same people that are commenting. Now there's a lot of people I don't know. But it's also a great opportunity to, I'm very grateful for the platform that there's a lot more opportunities to engage and to really connect with new people that I hadn't had the opportunity to come across before.
Now let's talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing to take this new growth and turn it into dollar signs? Because remember, like we've talked about this, I talk about this a lot. It's not just about you grow your followers. Like you grow, like, okay, so you've had this enormous growth, but it's not like, oh, you just sit back now and again, like money shows up in your bank account.
Exactly. And I have to be very selective with that too. I definitely have noticed there's a lot more offers for sponsored content. I had done sponsored content from time to time before, and now there's definitely a lot more opportunities to do it. But I'm very, very discerning. One, because I don't have the time. I have a full-time job and 2 kids and a husband and, a busy life. And sponsored content requires a lot of time to get it exactly like the brand wants it. Someone from a butter board reached out to me recently. I'm like, ooh, French butter. That sounds like that would be a perfect fit.
Yes, definitely.
And then I'm also, so one thing that we are working on, Jillian, is doing workshops because I'm like biting the bullet, getting over my fear. And I'm going to be doing paid workshops. My first one is next weekend for my Baking Baguettes for Beginners series, our 2-hour baguette recipe. And so we'll be doing that on the workshop. So I'm really excited about that. And it's also, finding ways that I can do it in the time that I have.
So Anina Belle, so we're working together because you are putting on your first paid workshop, teaching people how to make beautiful, delicious, crusty baguettes.
Yes. One thing I realized living in the United States is that a good baguette is hard to find. I was working on this baguette recipe during the pandemic. And at first, was just a catastrophe. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know how to let yeast rise. I didn't know how to handle yeast. I was intimidated by yeast. I didn't know how to roll out a baguette. And after doing it 25, 35, 50 times, became really, really good at it and realized that there was something special about the fact that you could do these baguettes in under 2 hours. They're crusty on the outside. They're soft and warm and delicious on the inside. And
wait, so you are offering this what day? And so
this is on April 2nd at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. I will be hosting
East Coast time.
This is East Coast time. Yes.
Okay.
Saturday, April 2nd. And I will be hosting my very first kind of beta test baguettes workshop. And I'm really excited to see I think see a lot of the people that were part of the Soup Sunday challenge, and also new friends join in. It will be live, it will be on Zoom, and we'll be able to ask questions and bake baguettes together and make errors together. And I will hold your hand through making these baguettes, which is something that can be incredibly intimidating if you've never baked bread before, like I hadn't a few years ago. So
and
it's
how much
really
does this cost to come?
$10.
$10.
So $10. You will learn how to make baguettes so that you can literally wake up on a Saturday morning, decide you're going to have a friend over for lunch, and put these baguettes in the oven, and they will be extraordinary.
If you want to go bake some beautiful baguettes with Anina Belle, head to this URL, baguettesforbeginners.milotreecart.com. So let me spell baguettes for you. It's BAGUETTES, and then for beginners, FOR, beginners, BEGINNERS .milotreecart.com. It's just $10, and I think it's going to be delicious and fun. Okay, so tell me, what other ideas now are you putting into place? Are you working on to monetize this new audience?
So another thing that my husband and I are working on that we're very excited about is a line of spices. We've already sourced incredible quality of individual spices, and we're making an herbe de Provence blend, because that was something that I realized in the Soup Sunday challenge. People were asking me, where do you get your herbe de Provence? It's something you can buy in grocery stores. It's herbe, HERBES, is herbs de Provence. Sorry. You can buy them in grocery stores, but the blend is never like it is in the south of France. In the south of France, you will never find lavender buds in a herbs de Provence, I'm trying to say it without the accent, blend, because that's not what you want to put on a steak. And I realized in the United States, often the herbe de Provence blends that you find have lavender buds in them. That's not good. So my husband has had a lot of fun in making our own blend of herbe de Provence, which we will market as Le Chef's Wife herbe de Provence. And we also have other spices that we're using that we used a lot in soups. Star anise, or do you say anise?
Anise, I say.
Anise. Anise étoilé in French is an incredible flavor for a chicken bouillon. And so we're going to be packaging up an incredible quality of the star anise. And then we also have French sea salt that's from the Camargue region, which is Sel de Camargue, which is amazing as a finishing salt. So we've got these incredible quality of spices that we cook with every day in our kitchen, and we're really excited to bring this, to be able to share that.
Okay, if you were to talk to you 2 years ago, what would you say to her?
Be patient. Be patient. Really be patient and enjoy where you are, and keep at it. Don't despair. Don't get discouraged. Trust yourself. Continuously learn. Continuously chip away at getting better. I've upped my photography skills. I recently invested in a camera for my 40th birthday. My husband gave me a camera, which is amazing. But just continuing to get a little bit better every day, and not putting the enormous amount of stress I was putting on my own shoulders to make it a success right away. Am I where I thought I would be in March 2022? No, actually, I'm much further along than I thought I would be 6 months ago or a year ago. I still have exciting things that I want to work on that I haven't been able to succeed at yet, but I feel that they will come. I'd love to write a cookbook. I'd love to spend more time writing. I love writing. I love the writing process. And, I'm approaching it with much more serenity and much more peace, saying it will come. And when it comes, it will be amazing. And I don't have to change my life right away. I can enjoy my career, and I can enjoy my kids, and I can also blog as long as it's fun. And also continue to work on these cool projects that are coming up and becoming more available to us. And I just love spending time as a family. And that's really why I started the blog in the first place, was to do something as a family and to leave something for our kids.
Anina Belle, if people want to reach out to you, see what you're doing, if they have questions, look at your beautiful food photography, which was always so wonderful, even way at the beginning, how can they do that?
So you can reach me on Instagram at Le Chef's Wife,
Okay,
which
spell
is
it.
LECHEFSWIFE. You can also reach me on TikTok. I'm trying to be better at TikTok. I don't post a ton there, but I'm trying to repurpose my reels there as well. At Le Chef's Wife. My blog is www.lechefswife.com. So LECHEFSWIFE.com. And also on Pinterest at Le Chef's Wife blog, that one. And I love to hear from you. I love hearing everyone's love affair with French cooking. And I love holding people's hands as they, discover something new, try something new, succeed at something new that I really love hearing about. So
Wonderful.
Yeah, please do.
Well, Anina Belle, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Jillian. I can't believe we're here. This is actually really a pinch me moment. 2 years ago, you had said you're going to be on my podcast and we're going to talk about your success on Instagram and with your email list. I would say no. So thank you. I'm really glad to be here. So grateful for your friendship, for your partnership, for your guidance. And I encourage anyone who feels that they're stuck to reach out and ask for help, because I realized very quickly, you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes just a few choice words, a few nudges in the right direction can really, really make the difference.
There are so many great takeaways from this episode, including doing B- work, giving yourself permission to not be perfect. The idea that sometimes it takes a while for things to start clicking and you don't know where it's going to come. The outline I always use for building online businesses is you are a content creator solving problems for people who become members of your community. And then as you grow and get traffic, you can monetize via ad networks, affiliate links, but also this community so well that you can start selling products and services to them. So I would say be patient and kind to yourself. Stay at it, because remember, slow and steady wins the race. If you are enjoying the podcast, please go to iTunes and give it 5 stars. I would be so appreciative. If you want help setting up a paid workshop or a membership, reach out to me at jillian@milotree.com and go bake some bread with Anina Belle at baguettesforbeginners.milotreecart.com. And I look forward to seeing you here again next week.